So you was working from home,
for the last
whereas
year,
I wasn't. But the similarity that we had is we're both key workers. But the difference is you was working from home and I wasn't.
But no, because I was working from home, but I was going into work once a week. Do you remember?
Yeah, for how long?
For the duration of the last year, I was once a week, every Friday. Do you remember?
No.
Yeah. To work with the key worker children.
To an extent.
Bro, I was going in.
All right. Okay. But you had a period where you worked from home.
Yeah, 4 days out of 5 I was working.
And during
I won't be at home. Yeah,
exactly. And I remember during conversation there was times when you were like, "Oh, I can't wait to go back out," but there were sometimes you was also enjoying it.
Yeah.
So how did you find it, like working from home and managing that?
So I don't even know where to start with this because obviously you know me, I'm very low key.
Yeah.
I like my own space, I like my own company, I love my reading, I love my meditating, all that new age, African spirituality, I love it.
Yeah.
And this is what I do outside of my working hours.
Yep.
During the last lockdown that we had, but I just started doing my initiation. So you know, like, well, for those of you that don't know what initiation is, the initiation is simply like being initiated to a culture. So when people ask me, they're like, "Oh, I don't know what it is," I just basically say, you know, when Kunta Kinte went into the bush and became a man, that's basic. But this is how I have to explain it because people don't really know unless they're in that in tradition in that way, or they have family that do tradition too.
True.
So that is what I've been doing for the past year. So I've been learning to like dissolve social corruptions, this sort of thing. You know, like I don't drink, I don't smoke anymore, like all that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of things that I've been doing.
Yeah.
And that itself was my main focus in the last lockdown. Meditating, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I was loving it. Like, I loved being, I was still going out. I was still moving normal. The only thing I didn't like was the amount of crazy I was seeing outside because of my own personal views about COVID and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I was at with it.
Right.
During this lockdown, because it was like the winter time and stuff like that, I generally get like vitamin D deficiency in the winter months. So I was always really tired.
Right.
And then plus it was cold, it was dark, the days are shorter. Yep. This sort of thing. It was a little bit different because obviously last time was more vibrant, that sort of stuff. The whole thing, I mean, we had what else did we have in? Yeah, we had another lockdown, didn't we? After Christmas, because I was back at work in September, and it was fine for me. Yeah. Then we were back at home. I was trying to do my bits, but it just seemed like it was different. I was on the computer constantly. Like I found that I was working till like 3 a.m. sometimes, and then I'm waking up, I'm tired, and I'm on the computer and I'm teaching online.
3 a.m, you know.
I remember once actually, I was teaching. And literally after I taught the lesson, I had to have a nap. Like I was just so drained off the screen. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think we've come to this point now with regard to working from home and the new normal, there needs to be some kind of balance with it. Yeah. Because of course you're working out of your working hours because you're trying to do all these extra things. And actually I found my workload was more working from home. Than it would have been when I was working at work.
At work, I remember you saying, Yeah,
that's
mad because, I mean, like I said, I obviously didn't have the pleasure or the luxury of working from home. But, I mean, there was some, there were some things put in place in regards to how, I mean, we had reduced service. For those that don't know, I work in the NHS. So I work predominantly in the mental health department. So I think for us, although the rates went up in regards to the amount of clientele we were seeing, but we still had to put some things in place in regards to when it comes to COVID, for example. So if there was anyone potentially that may have had COVID or maybe come in contact or tested positive, so the guidance was we shouldn't go too close to them. So but for me, it's like with work, it's like I've always, since I've become a mental health nurse, like a professional, I've always, even when I used to work on the ward, I've always had this thing where as soon as I finish off work, as soon as I leave that door, that's it, I switch off. Do you know what I mean? So it's very easy, obviously, when you're at work, when you're outside, because once you come into your house, it's a different environment. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a different environment, so it's a different sort of feeling, it's a different aura.
Yeah.
You have different energy in your house than you do outside. So it's like you automatically, as soon as you come home, you automatically do switch off. I think some people do, but I don't know if some...
I don't think that's necessarily true, and that's because I went through something similar like this, and this is before I started working in education. It's also when I started working in retail. Yeah, I used to work in a very well-known electronics company. Years back, maybe like over 10 years ago now, and I used to work on like customer services. Obviously we had the sales department, we had customer services also, and I used to do that part. And honestly, I would stress about customers' computers.
Oh wow.
Receipts, like did I provide this really good, like stupid
like
stuff
service,
like that,
like a good service.
And I would like and then staff would call me on my day off, like because I was a student, I was only working weekends. And staff would call me like, hey, you know, where so-and-so, did you go this customer, did you? And I used to be stressed. And I remember at the time I was with someone and I used to be like really upset, like crying, like, oh, why is he talking to me like that? Like I couldn't switch off. And he was like, why do you care? Like work is work. And I remember, like even to this day, like now, after we had that conversation, it's like something shifted. I'm like, yeah, like work is work.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't like now, like taking on board that advice. After I left that company, I started working for a popular betting shop. And it was literally that, it was bants, like we had bants about the customers, this sort of thing. However, when I closed them shutters at 10,
that's it.
I don't think about it at all. And I had to adapt the attitude because that was the way I kept sane.
Right.
Now, when I started teaching, it became different because you're working with young people. Like you're trying to, you know, when I became a teacher, it wasn't before money because God knows we don't get paid a lot, you know what I mean? But it was because I wanted to aspire to inspire other people.
Right, okay.
And that is not something you switch off from.
No.
Even considering like, just, it's small things. Like, I could talk about this all day. And so in the first school I worked in, my first ever school, my first set of children, I loved those children like they were my own children. And funny enough, today I was walking home and I was thinking about this particular child at work. If he was the first child when I went to the school, like I wanted to find the art cupboard and he showed it to me. Yeah. I literally saw him right outside my house. I was like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. And he's in year 10 now, which shows you how long I've been teaching. Right. And he showed me so much respect today, and I was just like, I just felt so like, look at you, like I don't know, like he gave me fucking hell when I was teaching him. But I love that kid. Yeah. But in that period of my life, those first 3 years of teaching, those children are like my own. And as much as they're teenagers now, like they had such an impact on me, I couldn't switch off. Like it's like, okay, I'm thinking about the lessons, but you also think about the pastoral stuff.
Of course, yeah.
In the sense of, okay, how can I make Manny's day better? What can I do to make sure his handwriting's good? That doesn't stop. I used to work on Sundays, like in the sense of I'm planning lessons, I'm putting together, like I used to do this club for the children called the Brilliant Boys Club, because we had a lot of boys with behavior difficulties and stuff like that. And then we had a club and I have people come in and speak to them. Like, that is a 24-hour job. Right. You don't switch off. When I left that school and I went somewhere else, I had such a negative experience. I just stopped becoming attached to children. Right. And my job became a job. It became a job. And it's still like that now. It's only recently I've even allowed some of the people that I work with to even get close to me, because I'm just like, no.
As in your colleagues?
No, just children.
The children, right, okay.
Work is work. Like, I'm happy to
you need to have that boundary.
Yeah. I love them, they love me, but it's like social distance. Yeah. Literally, like a literal social distance. Like.
So do you feel like you've come to a stage in your career now that you can actually think, considering all your experiences and past experiences, like, you know, you can now differentiate, okay, when I can switch off, like when because ultimately what I find is a lot of us don't know how to listen to our minds and our body and our brain, because like there's times when your brain is just like, bro, I'm tired, like just shut down. You know,
I can definitely do that. I can't tell you the last time I've taken books home to mark. First of all, we're not allowed to anymore because of COVID.
Right, okay.
But prior to that, I wasn't taking books home for a really long time. And the reason for that is, with teaching, your job is never done. There's always something to do. It's either you're planning, you're making something, you're marking something. There's something to plan. There's always something to do. There's something to follow up on. So my thing is this: okay, once the day is finished and I tap out, I'm done.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm done. Even when I'm going there, I'm not in work mode until I get in the building. But that takes a long time it takes a while to get to that space. And I don't want it to make it seem like I don't enjoy my job, because I love my job. I enjoy working with children. I love that stuff.
No.
But you have to think about yourself as well. Like, you're also a human being, and we as people need to establish clear boundaries and what we're going to be willing to allow, and how we're going to allow an establishment to treat us. Because actually, schools are also a business. You're a number. You are a number. No, 100%. So it's just this thing of like making sure that we're looking after ourselves first. So you can do a good job. Do you see what I mean?
Which is kind of like what we said at the beginning of the podcast. Like, the reason why we missed last week is because we were both not in the most healthy part of ourselves. So we had to look after ourselves first in order to come back this week and, you know, produce this episode. So it's like, and I think the same should and does apply to work, I would hope, with a lot of people. But I do know there are some jobs out there that you can't switch off, and it's unhealthy. Because I was watching I think the news, I don't know why I watch the news quite a lot these days, you know? It just shows my age. It's like there were some things about how delivery drivers are not they're earning below minimum wage, for example. They are. And
you wouldn't think that.
Deliveroo, I think they're about to go into the public market.
They are, because I got an email from them.
And I think the owner is probably actually worth about 500 mil. They employed quite a lot of people during the pandemic and so forth. But the point I'm trying to make is, a lot of the workers, like, there's a lot of them, they spend a lot of time just sitting and standing around waiting for work. And to the point where they have to feed their family and so forth and so forth. But the thing is, they can never switch off, because they can probably do a 12-hour shift today, probably go home and try to think, when is the most peak time I need to get up before this? Because it becomes a competition now.
And also,
and it's not healthy.
Cabs as well.
And this is what I'm trying, and it becomes an unhealthy job to have or position to be in. Because there was one guy that interviewed, and he was like, he was there for like 12 hours, because most of the time you spend waiting around. He spent 12 hours, and all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, he only made £60 for the day.
Whoa.
You're like, that is way below minimum wage. And that's just an example of one job where they can never switch off, or they don't have the opportunity to, because they're not making enough. Whereas you have other jobs, for example, maybe if I go into like people that are lawyers or accountants, again, I mean, I have a few friends that are in that position, and speaking to them, it's like, because when they have a case or they have a client or they have a deadline, they can't switch off. So how is that healthy? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, when can we switch off? And I've had situations as well, just going to a little bit of the extreme. It's like, there are people in office jobs where they're having their lunch break at their desk. So that's another one. And you're just like, bruv, you're not getting paid for that half an hour, an hour, but yet you're still working. I have to say,
trying to leave your work at work also comes with a sacrifice. And I'll say that just because I do that. I work for my lunch sometimes. But
comes with a sacrifice?
Yeah, in the sense of sacrificing my lunch hour. Because I don't get to have a full lunch hour, because there may be issues to sort out with children. Then I'll go to warm my food. I'm eating that quickly. I might have to mark something. Then I have to go and get my children 5 to 10 minutes before the bell goes, whatever. Like, there's stuff to do. But that means if I do those things in the hour, I can actually leave work early. Do you see what I mean? If I don't do those things, I can't leave work early enough. So it comes as, I prefer it that way anyway. And really, teachers, you don't really get lunch break. You don't really. Yeah. You're busy.
But
constantly.
I'm talking about office-based works, for example, or positions where, like, for example, like I said, accountants, maybe lawyers, because they've got cases upon cases, they've got to do research, investigation, whatever not. And you got accountants where they've got deadlines because obviously people's money can't be messed around with. Let's be honest. Yeah. But the point is like, you're at your desk working numbers, doing numbers, this and that, doing calculating, trying to do emails, doing Zoom calls, and it's like, bruv. And then I know a particular friend who sometimes he's like, where, because they have so many clients, because he works for like a massive, accounting firm. Yeah. And they've got mad deadlines. So it gets to a particular time of the year, I think before the end of the financial year, for example, in the UK. And they got so many clients, they got so many deadlines. So my man is at home and he's still waking up until 3 a.m. I'm like, yo, do you know what I mean? It's like, how is that healthy? And you're supposed to be a family man. You got kids, you got a wife, and what time do you have for them? And this is the thing, I think, in this world, or in this whatever, in this walk of life, it's like we work so much to the point where sometimes we can run ourselves to the ground and not know it.
You can burn out.
And because in the nursing that I do, I know a few people, and predominantly they are black people. I have to say it as it is like you're working a job which you're getting paid a salary, but you feel the need to always have to do bank, which is like overtime. You always have to do it. So it's like sometimes, because the way our shifts work, we do like 3 or 4 long days a week. That's enough. That's 12-hour shifts 4 times a week. But you're still doing 2 bank shifts. So you're doing another 12-hour shift twice a week. So what time do you have at home?
Yeah, I get
or
that.
to do what you need to do?
Also, which is what I mean about, sometimes I'll say the system is not good and this kind of thing. And I am a product of the system too, but whatever. We move. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And